What's up everyone, it's Blue here at Blue Bears Games, and for today's video I will be doing my upgrade guide for the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Most Wanted Commander Precon. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to ask for your help in supporting my channel, which can be done in the following ways. Subscribing to the channel, sharing any of my content on your socials, watching some of my many other videos, purchasing super thanks, purchasing channel memberships, purchasing decks that you may have seen on this channel directly from me on the Blue Bears Games Facebook page, and/or visiting our sponsor at arcane-fortress.com and using discount code BlueBear at checkout if you decide to purchase any of their amazing gaming supplies from them. Anything that you do will help support my channel immensely, and I thank you for it. Now that that is out of the way, let's get to today's video. For my guides, I start by showing you the cards that I would recommend removing first, and then I show you the cards that I would add back in that I believe will help make the deck either more fun to play a little better, or best case scenario, both. This was one of the tougher guides I've had to put together in a while. It wasn't because there were just so many options to choose from. Nope, it was because there were so few that would hone in on a single theme that I believed could be fun or be good enough to win. Sadly, Outlaws have even less support than the party mechanic, so I had to find a few themes that would play well off each other, be fun, and actually have a way to win. I ended up beefing up the Treasures theme, using creatures that fit the Outlaw theme, and then added an alternate way to win with the treasure tokens. Additionally, I will also show you two combos that will fit all of the changes that I thought were good fits and seemed like they would be fun to pull off. So let's get this guide going, and I'll start by showing you which cards I would take out first. I would remove Temple of Malice, Temple of Silence, Temple of Triumph, Temple of the False God, Dire Fleet Daredevil, Camber the Plunderer, Rankle Master of Pranks, Marshland Bloodcaster, Witch of the Moors, Brina the Demagogue, Humble Defector, Loreen the Diversion, Dead Before Sunrise, Shiny Impetus, and Life Insurance. That's 15 cards in total that I would recommend removing. I have a plea for Wizards. Instead of using these crappy-ass temples in every precon, can you please use the dual lands from the Ravnica Clue Edition instead? They both enter tapped, but instead of a scry once on entering, they make a clue token that can be done repeatedly. Monetarily, they are about the same price, but the clue room duels at least provide more value over time. It's just a thought, but that is my plea. I've said it in just about every upgrade guide I've made that I hate the temples, and this would be an acceptable compromise to me and I'm sure many others. As far as the rest of the cards I suggested removing go, sure, a bunch of them are Outlaws and fit the theme that this deck was going for, but there are some much better ones out there that will fit a more honed-in theme with treasures that will fill their roles just nicely. That includes a few artifacts and enchantments that will add an alternative way to win where you aren't just turning dudes sideways. Which cards did I find that will do this? Well, let me show you. The first thing I'll recommend adding back in are two lands which will bring the total count back up to 35. Those lands are Tainted Field and Fountain Port. I recommend Tainted Field simply because I removed 3 dual-type lands and I wanted to put a little more mana fixing back in. It enters untapped, which is always a bonus, but mostly I feel that this should have been included in the box to begin with. Fountain Port, on the other hand, is a newer land that really fits into any token-based theme. It creates different types of tokens and also provides card draw without having to cast anything, but the biggest upside to this card is that it can be slotted into any commander deck because its color identity is colorless. Next up, I will show you 7 creatures that will help shape the deck's new direction. The first 3 focus on creating treasure tokens. They are Professional Facebreaker, Pitiless Plunderer, and Zorn. The Facebreaker creates treasures when your creatures deal combat damage to players, the Plunderer creates them when your creatures die, and Zorn doesn't create them on its own, but simply creates additional ones when you do create treasure tokens. On their own, they can help create a bunch of treasures, but if you get lucky to have all 3 on the board at the same time, the amount of treasure tokens you could build up can get out of hand quickly. The next two creatures I'm going to show you provide that alternate way of winning that I mentioned earlier. They are Reckless Fireweaver and Mirkwood Bats. Simply put, both of these deal damage to each opponent when you have treasure tokens enter the battlefield, and the bats even deals damage when you use them. That could end up being a lot of damage from just two commons. The last two creatures I'm going to show you kind of deploy a secret sub-theme. They are Kellogg, Dangerous Mind, and Laughing Jasper Flint. These, along with Captivating Crew, provide a sub-theme of stealing creatures. Kellogg uses treasure tokens to do it, which means that it provides an alternate use for them. Jasper, on the other hand, has an ability that allows you to take them from an opponent's library at the beginning of your upkeep, and while the ability doesn't cost anything to use, you still have to pay for them. Luckily, this deck can create a lot of treasure tokens, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. The lone enchantment that I'll recommend for this section is called Rakish Crew. On top of being an Outlaw Kindred deck, there are also a few ways to create Outlaw creature tokens as well. Since those tokens will most likely be fodder for sack outlets, I figured adding another way to drain life from all of your opponents wouldn't be a bad thing to add. Plus, this even creates an Outlaw token when it enters as well. The final thing I'll show you are the two combos that I mentioned in the intro. The first combo uses Murderous Redcap and Gev Scaled Scorch. How this combo works is explained in the link at the top of your screen, but I'm actually going to alter it by adding Goblin Bombardment. Rather than having Murderous Redcap do damage to itself, instead have it deal damage to whatever you want, and then sack it to the bombardment for even more damage. All of this together will result in infinite enters the battlefield triggers, leaves the battlefield triggers, death triggers, and of course, damage. I really liked this combo for this deck specifically because it uses two Outlaws, and the end result is that it winds up fulfilling the requirements of committing a crime. I just thought it was too on theme to not include in an Outlaw-themed deck. The other combo focuses on the token creation theme of the deck. This one uses Academy Manufacturer, Transmutation Font, and Clock of Omens. If you don't see how this combo works, click on the new link at the top of your screen and it will explain how. This combo will result in a lot of infinites, including creating a lot of artifact tokens that do some really helpful things, but the main point is the creation of infinite treasure tokens. Remember when I suggested earlier to add Reckless Fireweaver and Mirkwood Bats? Well, now you can add infinite damage to the list of things this combo can do. As if this combo needed to do more, right? Lastly, for the second time on this channel, I'm going to give you an honorable mention card. That card is called Revel in Riches. I have not made room for it in this guide because I like to keep things budget friendly. This is an almost $20 card, but if you have one in your collection already or can trade for one, then I would absolutely add it to this deck. It's both a treasure token maker and an alternative win con, so it can be considered an auto-include for any treasure token themed deck that uses black. But that damn price tag is pretty high, and unless a reprint comes soon, it's just going to get higher. So that, my friends, is my upgrade guide for the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Most Wanted Commander Precon. While everything that I just showed you won't make this Precon a top-tier deck, it should make it run smoother and even help you win more games with it. I've said it before that I'm a big fan of artifact-themed decks, and this is at least half of that theme. While the Outlaw half doesn't have much support, I try my best to go with it and just add enough cards to make it a little viable. For all 15 cards I just showed you, it would cost roughly $30, and if you were to consider adding Revel in Riches, that would jump to about $50. Considering some cards that revolve around treasure tokens like Smothering Tithe and Ancient Copper Dragon cost about the same or even double that alone, I'd say that's a bargain. So, what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts about all of the changes that I just recommended in the comments section. Well, my friends, that's all I've got for you this week. Thanks for watching, and if you're looking for more Magic content to watch, please browse through my channel because I'm sure you'll find more of my videos that you'll enjoy. Before you head off though, Please smash that like button and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, so you can be notified when I release new content, which I do every Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all next week where I'll be doing this all over again for the next Outlaws of Thunder Junction precon.